Alright, hey everybody, and welcome to the grand finals of the Not-Yet-Dead Tournament, cast, analysis, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. In any case, this is Putin 187 against Blitzwar, who is coming from the losers bracket, meaning that Blitzwar, in order to win the tournament, has to win this best of 5, and then another best of 5, since he got eliminated already and Putin did not. I hope that makes sense. Informations, brackets, all the replays as well. There's gonna be a link in the description to the Reddit post that I made. Spoilers though, the Reddit post contains who won the tournament, and you can find all the replays, all the decks, etc. In there. Yeah, grand finals. This is held in a very small place. Putin is playing Dutch-German coalition, and Blitzwar is playing Landjut Mechanized. He's gonna take. Let's hope I don't fuck this up again. Here we can see, or here you can see as well, Putin's deck that he played here. Quite unusual to see 3 cards of CVs, 2 cards of infantry CVs, both in a ground transport, which I found interesting. I personally think that if you take both, you might as well take one in a helicopter for, in case you play. Of course, in a tournament you can influence it, but in case you end up playing on a map like Nuclear Winter or Hell in a very small place, or there's just gonna be a scenario where you want your CV to be on the front line very quickly, I think this is pretty beneficial to take one of these in a helicopter, but obviously not a huge deal. Lands, not something you see very often in a 1 versus 1 deck. 2 cards of Ace Fs, 2 cards of Peace Rhines, no dedicated anti-helo hunter, no block 52 OCU, if that's what it's called. The Dutch F-16 with 4 ATGM missiles. Vehicle type with the Pratt, not a vehicle you see very often either. Then again, Dutch-German vehicles, there's nothing special in there. So I assume that this is just to fill the gap or just to use that 1 point he has left. Vehicle type, nothing too outstanding either. AMX 13 in the tank type, obviously a very key unit in the stack. Stotrippen in the YPR, you don't see very often. I think most of the time you see Stotrippen either in their wheel transport or 5-pointer, and usually if you see people using the YPR with the autocannon, most of the time you'll see them with the Grenadiers just to get them cheap, basically as a pseudo Sojung-Su KF V25 combo. Nothing too outstanding though. But overall, I think this deck is relatively standard, maybe outside of the logistics and plane type and the lands, but other than that, nothing too out of the ordinary. Yeah. Looking at Blitzwar deck, Landjut Mech, I mean, there's not too much you can do wrong here, so like you have a whole lot of choices, obviously lots of Dragoner, lots of Lift Garden. It should be noted that, if I see it correctly, hang on, let me open this for myself so I can get a better resolution on the picture. The Dragoner come in the transport with 2 front armor. The Lift Garden come in the transport with 1 front armor. It is very important. The A1 transport has 1 front and 1 side armor. The G transport has 2 front and 2 side armor. Especially when you're spamming out of infantry, that is quite important, the difference. The Laro with the recoilless rifle, personally, I just think that all these cheaps with recoilless rifles are just straight up bad. Again, though, he's playing mech, he has a few activation points left, he might as well put something in there, right? Block 5, arguably, or in my opinion, the best cluster bomber even. It's very nice to have, and especially on maps with a lot of forests, where tanks are not quite as fast, can do a lot of work. Obviously, you have the automatic M110, or heavy artillery is not something you see people use very often in mech decks. Yeah, not a lot of recon infantry and only the Spaderne. You don't get the, I mean, I guess it's only Spaderne or Grenzer. I think you might get Fernspeer in the CH-53 transport, possibly, but you don't get access to the KCT, not KCT, to Jäger. I'm pretty sure in Mechanized. So he doesn't really have a lot of choice there. Overall, though, I think nothing too outstanding when it comes to what he actually put into his Landjut Mech deck. And I did not forget to turn off the deck preview. So let's just quickly speed ahead the deployment. Pause once the game starts and check it out, and then we'll see. I'm gonna do this at a 2x speed because I already talked for 5 minutes, and I honestly, I'm sorry if you prefer that, but I'm not gonna be talking for 50 minutes straight here. I might pause or make it slower or potentially faster at certain points, but I want to keep this relatively fast. And usually in games, there's gonna be some sort of downtime, and having to go through that at a one-time speed, trying to fill that air, which I'm terrible at, I don't necessarily want to do. So I guess the deployment is gonna be 8 minutes and 23 seconds long, because we might have a full 40-minute game here. Yep. All right. So, Blitz War. Jupiter, ATGM, Milan 2, our Leopard Recon going for this side. Automatic 2-2-A1s, excuse me. A bunch of Dragoner, Leopard Recon. Starts immediately with the mortar, directly at the fob. This one is amphibious. The other ones are not. The ones with 2 front and side armor are not amphibious. Jupiter with a Recon probably to drive around. I'd assume that this ATGM is going to be a holding force for this town. Second automatic with more infantry or a bit of infantry probably going for this. I assume that he's going to push there. I would be surprised if he pushes down here. Putin starting with an escort. There's not much that Blitzwar can do, and in fact, on errand. I was gonna say that he doesn't have a lot of. Hey, what the fuck am I talking? He has 2 automatics. Starting with 2 CVs, I'm pretty sure Blitzwar only started with 1. Yes, both start with the fob, of course. Putin seems like, yeah, main force going for here. Made us a Vercanning, a bit of infantry, but definitely just a holding force. No AA in mid, and also only a Gepard A1 on the right. So not a lot of stuff in the anti-air department. However, he does have an escort and an YPR, so against like basic helicopters, he's not gonna be quite fucked. And then on the other hand, he doesn't Landjet Mech doesn't get the strongest helicopters, although Fennecs, in my opinion, are in general very underrated. This map also again offers a lot of forest covers, so it's gonna be tough to get good value out of those Fennecs. Basically no heavy or medium tank. Do I see this correctly? Just an AMX-13 as his only tank. Lots of ATGMs, but a Volcanic for mid is basically the heaviest thing he has, so that's very interesting. I guess he has a Marder too, which is... No, it's actually worse armored than a Leopard Volcanic, which is, I believe, a Leopard 1A4, if I'm not wrong. Hull, when it comes to the hull and shit. A UH-14 with KCT, probably gonna be dropping around here. Either going to go for a flank here, trying to get line of sight behind there and into Alpha, or for Bravo, could potentially do a lot of damage with the lands. Same here. I'm pretty sure that he just knows that Blitzwar most likely won't have anything to prevent this. He could start with a Fennec with the autocannon, but yeah, that's actually in the opener. Get this at 1 speed. Escort as basically expected, with the trick of getting to hover a helo inside the forest. Stop the recon, nothing really huge, but 2A1s and automatic, I'm pretty sure, yeah, have no problem stopping the MX-13. But of course, with the only wheeled unit being a basic recon that is also just gonna drive through there, there was not much stopping those Milan and the KCT dropping in there. The Gepard A1 also got killed, so the block V can very easily just do its job. But then again, there isn't really anything to kill. Automatic's not gonna deal with the escort just yet. Meanwhile, Putin dropped Commariner in there and managed to kill the automatic in here. Most likely with the Volcanic here. It's war, I guess, yeah, I'm pretty sure he did see the KCT, which is why he's gonna drive these into that area. Should probably unload those first. Commariner, however, did get dealt with by those Dragoner. And I'd assume that, yeah, the transport as well. They were panicked when they were there, so I assume that they got killed or got forcibly unloaded in a transport. Or maybe he actually Blitzwar moved the automatic back and didn't actually lose it. Sorry for missing that. But as you know, I'm not the best. Jupiter again. The same thing happened to Milan, I believe. I'm actually surprised that apparently Putin. Well, I shouldn't say surprised. I'm pretty sure that it could very easily happen to me as well. that the Jupiter just basically drives through there without, you know, getting killed. It's gonna be fun because Blitzwar, oh, that's a very unlucky crit. Blitzwar also has heavy artillery, so you could potentially do some damage here. They've gotten get hold of the UH-14, but the KCT are already very far away. The 201s here are still very fine, the automatics got moved. He has to watch out with the automatic here, because even though it doesn't look like it, this whole part here is all cover, you know? You can see the edges here with this whitish, gray, brownish line. Even though there are no trees here, this is all cover. This is cover, you know? It's not just this line, it's this whole patch here that is encircled by this brown grayish thing. So Putin could very easily just walk up infantry in there, and, you know, the automatic obviously can't see through the forest more than like 300 something meters. So he could very easily lose the automatic to Stotterim if he doesn't pay attention, or if Putin just simply tries to, you know, exploit that. KWS being bought, basically just to deal with the block 15. He could probably just get away with having the Gebhardt as his only ground AA, as long as he has ASFs up, since again, Landshut doesn't have the strongest helicopters. He doesn't have anything like escorts, Tigers or something. Again, Fennecs are fine and all, but they're rarely gonna be the type of helicopter that if it gets into your flank or something, has the potential to completely demolish you, like something like a Hind, a Tiger, or even an Escort has, just simply because of rocket pods, strong autocannon with a turret, can move quickly, do a lot of damage quickly, you know. Fennecs, in theory, you know, the Tau 2 Fennec is a perfectly fine and perfectly strong, honestly, anti-tank helicopter. Outside of that, though, again, with only 4 missiles, can easily be dealt with, or, you know, can easily not really do a lot of work. Right, so smoked off here. He has to be careful though. Walking line infantry into towns and line infantry in CQC, not the strongest thing. As you can see, it didn't take long for KCT to already demolish one squad, and now the Dragoner are getting wrecked as well. The MG, by the way, firing at the Milan, not the KCT. They can't fire MGs in CQC, and with one Milan 2 man loss and one KCT man loss, you know, that's already dealt with. If you want to do that, and I did and do that mistake myself too, do that with shock infantry. KCT killed one of these M113s, I'm pretty sure. Was noted by Blitzwar. It's very good. The other KCT from all the way down here actually moved that far back. Didn't shoot a single shot. He should probably turn off the guns, or at least the MG. But I think he's far enough away that he's not gonna accidentally fire at anything. There's the Fennec that I was talking about. But if he flies directly over the KCT, it's gonna die because it has no armor. One armor actually helps against infantry, so he has to like be at like 500 meter range. That's Lance firing, getting a Spader in it down, stunning and panicking the 2A1s. They're not gonna take a lot more damage other than that though. AWS again. It should be noted, in case you didn't pay attention, Putin 187 obviously has no seaplane in the stack, so these automatics could do a lot of work. Although, of course, if you have line of sight, they're very easy to pick off with a Peace Rhine. Alright, had to quickly pause the cast here, but you won't notice anything because I'm gonna cut this out. Anyways, so attacks are going on. Panic 2A1 is gonna be very careful here. Honestly, the calm 2A1 here should easily be able to win this. I guess he was scared of the infantry, which is why he moved away. He did spot a Führungsgruppe with his UH-14. I'm not sure if this was a very wise decision, although the Führungsgruppe did spot the KCT. I'm not sure if Blitzwar noticed that. He obviously notices the UH-14 and bought a Gebhardt for that, but he doesn't necessarily notice, didn't seem to notice the KCT apparently. Then again, the damage effectively has potentially already been done, as the Lance is aiming, or reloading rather, it already finished aiming, probably for the Führungsgruppe. But like I was saying, I think the calm 2A1 would actually be able to win against two panicked 2A1s, because sure, they might have their first 2 shots ready, but even if they hit, the 2A1 should be able to survive that, and the 2A1s, they're gonna be reloading for ages when they're panicked. This side now completely under Blitzwar's control. I am a, there are two types of people in this world: artillerymen and targets. No, that's not, of course not what I'm talking about. Lance apparently got noticed. No, it wasn't Lance that got noticed. I think he noticed that the Führungsgruppe was spotted at some point. Or assumed it maybe. Lance anyways doesn't anything. But as I was saying, there are two types of targets. Those who think that, from Putin's spawn side, it's worth sending something here to start, and those who think it's a waste of time. I'm in the camp of people that say, it's definitely worth sending an infantry squad or several infantry squads even for this side, because if the opponent anticipates that you're sending nothing, then you could get a very strong foothold here, and depending on what deck you play, you can very easily, if you get spikes in there, if you get a hind here or something, you can do a lot of damage and potentially even get full control over the course of the game, or at the very least force the opponent to spend a lot of points in getting you out of there. And secondly, if it ever comes to a stalemate or something, and the you have, even if you just have a foothold here, and the opponent, or neither the opponent nor you ever probed, you know that this is basically safe. You can safely reinforce this, right? And then it means that you can easily countercap this, at least for a while, or at least reinforce this even, at least for a while. If you have never sent anything here, whatever is in here is a complete mystery for you. So I think it's definitely worth spending 40-50 points in the opener to get infantry or something in here. Even if it ends up dying, I'm pretty sure it's worth it, because if it ends up dying and killing a couple of units of your opponent, he'll most likely also spend more points anyways, so it's not like you completely wasted your points. Tiger killed the Fennec here, block 15 and block 5. KWS got out. Tiger is landed, so they won't do anything. He could... Okay, I was gonna say he could cluster in here. KWS was ready again and got a hit on the block 5, but didn't kill it. Cluster Bomber didn't do anything. But Blitzer with the foothold here again is in a decent position, honestly. He's also taking +1, which I completely failed to mention. 2A5 by Putin. It's not something you see very often, Putin using super heavies. He has to be careful. He doesn't have a mortar to give any smoke. Oh, he does have a mortar, never mind. To smoke this off or give cover for the 2A5. You should definitely work on getting some more value out of it. Someone added me on Discord. Let me just mute my phone. Alrighty. Which 14? The other one. Oh, okay. Blitzwar thought the lance was coming for this V, but it wasn't. Führungsgruppe is still full HP. Dragona got damaged. KCT again. Not sure if that was the right call, but I guess we'll see. This is so weird. Putin doesn't really seem to be all too bothered by, Blitzwar taking. I mean, he is ahead in points still, and it's just a +1, and he's also about to kill this V, so I guess he's pretty confident in, being in a very strong position, and I mean, he is. But what I mean is that he doesn't seem to be too anxious for the fact that he doesn't have this town, which in the long run he might need. What did he just kill there? Let me pause this. Was that an automatic? Yeah, it wasn't automatic he just killed, so that's a bit unfortunate from Blitzwar. I assume that he wanted to kill the tiger and drove it down this way, or maybe mismicroed a bit. Unfortunate for him, but it's something you have to pay attention for. Tiger only has 2 rocket pods and 2 HOTS left. In my opinion, he should probably go on resupplying. KCT killed one of the, I think there was a Martyr 2 even? Did he first? Martyr 1, okay. Mortars actually, by the KCT absolutely wrecking the Panzergrants out in the open. Special forces, especially with SMGs, have massive DPS against infantry. Even killing Panic again, that's what I mean, but that's why you need 2 helicopters, one to basically tank and force the enemy infantry to stand still, and the other one to actually kill. So that's that. CV in Foxtrot was also killed. Sorry for missing it once again. So was the one in Echo. God, that's annoying. That must be annoying. This one might even run out of CVs. So that's a 1, 2, 3 CVs, 4, 5 CVs already used up by Blitzwar, and I'm pretty sure he has, how much is maybe 10 CVs. I think Land should get some sort of availability bonus, so he might get more than 9. 6 being the base for Jeep CVs and 3 for infantry CVs. KWS gets killed. Last the bomber, I'm not sure if, oh, it actually got down the Leopard 205 to 1 HP. The Leopard 201 also got killed. There's a CV standing there doing nothing. Now it's moving in. ACT here still didn't get dealt with. They did shoot a bit, but I think Blitzwar might not be aware of their presence, and that might be his doom. Putin was taking plus, is taking +2 even now. Spadarna finally getting a move on, so I hope that Blitzwar is doing something with them. Peace run coming in. Let me slow this down a bit. Probably for the automatic that got spotted there. Moving into cover though, so I think he might lose line of sight. He did lose line of sight. And I think even if he had line of sight, the automatic would have been able to stun the peace run beforehand and kill it. I think there was a ping for the automatic, but it's a bit off target. Automatic got down to 2 HP by that single land, so that's a bit unfortunate. Peace run from Blitzwar, probably for the 205, but which is still on 1 HP. He should probably turn this off and just move it a bit further back. I don't think Putin wants this 1 HP super heavy to be spotted. Maybe the peace run is also there for the Tiger though. It's a decent anti-helicopter plane. Not much really going on in this side. Some small skirmishes here and some artillery dumping here, but outside of the opener, nothing done here, and also nothing going on there. Both are relatively weak here when it comes to this area. Only a Dragoner and Spider for this. I'm not sure how far the Leopard up there can see. Blitzwar getting finally hold of this town again, apparently. We won dealing with those Fuchs Milans. Bit unfortunate. Bit of a missed micro there. KCT also a bit far back. They can't really spot much from back there. But I think Putin is probably busy just operating his lances most of the time. 60 minutes to go. And still got one of the fob left. I think at this point Putin only wants to wear him down. Wear Blitzwar down. He doesn't really need to properly push anywhere at this point. He still has a KCT there, so I guess he has some sort of fallback option, panic button, whatever you want to call it, where in case he needs to, could go for the CV. Peace run going in way too deep. That must have been a misclick by Blitzwar, or must have just forgotten about it. But he has some sort of fallback plan, panic button, whatever you want to call it, in case he needs to desperately kill a 2-point CV. So that might be the reason why he hasn't really actually killed anything with those KCT. He should definitely, in my opinion, pull those back where they were originally, because if Blitzwar pays attention, he will notice that the Iltis is spotted. And that will make him, or tell him that there's going to be recon here. So once Putin spotted this, he should, in my opinion, unless he wants to kill it with the KCT themselves, of course, pull them back as where they were, where the Iltis wasn't spotted, just mark this with the ping, and then see what happens. M110s killed. Did it just kill both lances with 1 shot? Anyways, both lances are dead. So that took him long enough to finally buy those M110s. But that's massive for Blitzwar, but may also be a bit too late. But we'll see. Mortars actually going in now. I guess, yeah, Putin realized they're not gonna cut it. The CV is gonna move, so he just turned on the cargo stuff. And it's gonna be another +1 for a couple of minutes, while already being ahead. And of course, not only, you know, having a tick, also Blitzwar has to spend another 100 points, 110 points, and more points to deal with the KCT. Or if he doesn't spend more points, he's most likely gonna lose more points. And of course micro as well. He's gonna be busy finding and dealing with those KCT, etc, etc. Well, this is very, very interesting. Putin has no foothold here, Foxtrot is basically divided, and Blitzwar has some sort of foothold here, but still Putin is massively ahead. It's just very often his type of playstyle, where on ground he may not necessarily be ahead, but in terms of the macro game, KD, conquest points, it's very often that he's actually the one ahead. That was a bit too aggressive, you know. Lucky for Blitzwar that the KCT were so aggressive and the Gepard basically instantly dealt with that. CV being bought? I guess that, okay, he saw the Spade, I suppose, and now he's buying the spare CV in case he's gonna lose this CV. One thing with infantry CV, of course, unless you're in a big town block, they're very immobile. Or, of course, unless you have a transport around. But 12 minutes ago, +2 would be enough, even for 10 minutes to win the game. Probably 8 or so minutes would probably also be enough. Block 15 killed KWS. KWS killed, I think it was a peace run. I actually didn't fully pay attention because I was doing math in my head. But of course, you can always see for yourself. I don't think I need to tell you what actually happens on screen. Well, I mean, sort of have to tell you, but you know, if I miss something just there, you can just rewind 5 seconds, of course. I think most of what I have to add here is, you know, they actually not you know, narrating what's happening, but actually, you know, what could be done, what should be done, how units are and should be used, and what players might be thinking, or what the reasoning for certain units and strategies, etc. are. Helicopters flying around, escort and tiger. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that or if you know me, I hate this type of stuff. On the other hand, this is a tournament. This isn't outright forbidden. You know, if he was doing this for with all the escorts he has and all the tigers and stuff, you know, I'd probably go call this Hilo cheese and will probably disqualify him for that, but it's not disqualify worthy by any means. There was no defense whatsoever other than the manpad here for this, so it's a bit annoying, of course. Call it cheesy or don't, I don't care, but this was perfectly within the rules. And in a tournament, you kind of potentially have to expect it. And also against a player like Putin, who is infamous for doing this. So there was no base defense at all for this, so yeah. Still, it was still relatively early notice by Blitzwars, so he did deal with those helicopters before losing any CVs, so that's the most important stuff. Roland Fries immediately dealt with the Peace Rhine. 2FF still in full HP. I don't think the 2FF honestly has done a lot of work itself. Honestly, the most amount of work it did was probably simply by existing. Automatic got killed by the Peace Rhine. Block 15 deals with the Peace Rhine. The most amount of work it did, Roland's 3 stat with the ASF. The most amount of work that 2FF is simply existing, meaning forcing, not necessarily forcing, but making Blitzwar by the block 5, going for the 2F5 with block 5, and potentially just, you know, making Blitzwar think, hey, there's a 2F5 there, I can't push there with my 2A1s, I need more stuff, and thus being not very aggressive. That's why it's super heavy. Even if it doesn't really kill a lot of stuff, it can most definitely, in indirect ways, you can get a lot of value out of that. Now Putin being even aggressive in mid, I guess it's because Blitzwar himself is being aggressive there as well, but that 2-stack of Commander, oh god, they're gonna just roll through the Panzergrens. If the Panzergrens would nice side shot, would just, you know, if the 3-stack of the Panzergrens would attack the Commander, they might have a okay chance, or at least they would deal a good amount of damage, but if the 2-stack is just gonna one by one go through the Panzergrens, they're not gonna take much damage. So though 2FF is still alive, but everything else here apparently is dead. But it's just a tad too late, most likely. 5 minutes left on the clock, CV coming in, Putin's still ahead, and even if he countercaps, it's just gonna be a +1, and currently it looks like he's even losing middle. And there's the 2 helicopters, Escort and Tiger, fully repaired again. There's a Fajimiga squad coming around the flank, but I don't think the Core Mariner will take long to deal with that. 2FF nearly took a shot from the Milan too, but most of the stuff here got dealt with, and now even Blitzwar's foothold is not even much stronger than Putin's foothold. Probably even weaker, I'd say. Milan, killed by mortars. You don't see that very often in towns, but then again, they only have 2 HP, so it doesn't take a lot of work. One direct hit will kill them. You take 40% of the damage, 0.4 times 5 is 2, so a direct hit will deal 2 damage from 5 HE mortars. In towns, of course. CV here also got killed. But earlier, I missed it again. There's the spare CV that Putin originally bought for his spawn. The fob is empty, or virtually empty. But I think at this point, Blitzwar is just playing it out so he doesn't get Putin doesn't get the 500 conquest points, meaning that if one player surrenders before the game ends, it counts as if the winner of the game had 500 conquest points, because in an event of both players having 2 wins and 1 draw or something, then whoever has the most amount of conquest points accumulated over all the games in that best of 5 wins the best of 5. Has happened only twice, I think, so far this tournament. But this is basically just to prevent like a infinite type of overtime matchup or something. But yeah, let's just get this over with. Nice final, only CV snipe. Well, I can't, I can't understand it. But there's 70 euros on the line. And it is allowed. And, it is annoying, but there's, can't build your decks. That's why I nowadays in 1 versus 1s, I always take a card of tank CVs. You can put your CVs into non-obvious placements. You can do stuff against stuff sneaking around, scouts sneaking around. There is stuff you can do. And it is annoying if the opponent gets lucky or something with a lance and they get a direct hit. Sure, they kill your CV, but at the same time, like in all the engagements that happened up here, it's not like Blitzwar massively outplayed Putin and he only lost because of the CV snipes, right? And of course, you have access to the wildcard, meaning changing or adjusting one of your decks. You have access to all the replays to the decks that every player has access to. So you can prepare for this. You can ban decks. You can ban maps. So it's not like there's nothing you can do against this. Again, I can understand, if you don't like it. I don't like it myself. I absolutely hate it. Same with the helicopter flying around. But that's how it is, and yeah, there are precautions you can do against CV sniping, not necessarily against healer rushing, unless you want the game to be a rock paper scissors type of game. So yeah, very one-sided KD. The thing is, again, like when it comes to like the actual front line and stuff, it wasn't really that one-sided. I think most of the time, if not all the time, Putin was basically still kind of ahead, but obviously what won Putin the game for the most part was the CV snipes, not just the CV snipes, but also forcing Blitzwar to use points, use micro on his flank near his CV, and costing him time, etc., etc. It's not as simple as, oh, he only won because he CV sniped. There's more to that. How I wouldn't say honorable. Honorable feels very fake and very like a weird way to put it, but it's not the most exciting, maybe not the most standard conservative type of playstyle. But on the other hand, you're up against a mechanized deck on hell in a very small place with a, while kind of infantry heavy, certainly not as heavy as an infantry deck. If Putin went into a full on let me just grind against your mech deck type of game, there's a good chance he lost, because it's very hard to grind with a non-mech deck against a mech deck, especially on hell in a very small place. So he has to do other stuff, and that's what he did, and that's why he won. I was gonna say easy as that, but it's not as easy, of course. So yeah, I wouldn't say a controversial game, but I think you get it. I think you get the gist of it, right? So 1-0 for Putin. Putin won with the Dutch-German coalition, meaning that he can't play this deck anymore for the remainder of this best of 5. Blitzwar has still access to his Lancet mechanized deck, and the map held in a very small place also, of course, won't be played anymore in this best of 5. So that's game 1. I hope you enjoyed the analysis, the cast, whatever you want to call it, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.